Hey guys, welcome to Successful Archi Student. So today I'm going to show you something pretty cool. This is going to be a tutorial or a guide, I guess, just a walkthrough of how to create a operational diagram. That's going to be something like this just on the screen here. And it's going to be really helpful for showcasing the development of your design form and also showcasing and explaining your design process and decisions. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video. I'm going to start off by creating just a cube, and we're going to start with this cubular form, if that's a word, cubular. Just use the cube tool in Rhino here. We're in Rhino 5.0. This isn't the newest version, but this is the version I'm using. So I've created a cube. We're going to set the viewport to shaded mode. And so from here, this is pretty much the first step of this operational diagram. And so what we want to do here now is just copy this one over by highlighting it and typing copy. And we're just going to grab the point of it and just bring it out a certain distance, probably about that much, just so it's a bit of breathing room from the other one. And so from here, all we want to do is just start making changes and showcase how this form is going from a cube into something else. I'm thinking kind of like a skyscraper looking tower thing that twists around, and I'm going to show you how I get from this cube form to that final design. So now we've copied over this cube. We're going to make just one adjustment to it. We're going to explode it. So we've got all the faces of it, and we're going to turn the points on by typing PON. And then I'm just going to grab these two corners here. I'm just going to go to the top view. I'm just going to move them out a little bit. And holding shift, I'm just going to push them out a bit. I'm going to do it again with these two corners at the top here. Just going to push them out so they kind of twist around a little bit, something like that. So then once we've created this form, we can just copy this one over again by highlighting it all. We've got to get out of PON by pressing escape. Highlight it all, press or type copy, and I'm going to grab it and move it the same distance as the other one. So now we've got three forms here which we are developing. So with this form here, I'm just going to, I think I might just want to scale it up. So I'm just going to grab from the right view, I'm just going to go directly up and scale this bad boy up into like a tower looking thing. So now we've got this twisting tower. I'm just going to copy that one over again by typing copy, moving it the same distance. And you don't have to copy the same form. You can do this for any kind of form. I'm just going to show you the process of it. So now that we've got this fourth diagram bit, I'm going to actually join all those planes together. So then we've just got one form. And in the top view, I'm thinking I want to have a little void running through the building. So I'm going to grab another cube. I'm going to go from about here to here and just create this cube that goes all the way through it like that. And what we can do from here is we can click on the original form and we can type Boolean difference. I said that really Europeanly. That was weird. And then we're just going to hit on the other object there and press enter, and that's going to remove that form from it. So as you can see, we've got this twisting tower thing with a void through the middle. So from here, I'm thinking I'm going to copy this one over again, using the same process as before, and I'm thinking I might want to twist this one around, so I'm just going to use the command twist, and I'm going to bring that up, and let's just twist it from there. Oh, that looks a little bit funky, so we've put a little bit of a twist in it. Might actually do a little bit more than that. There we go, got this little twisting tower. So I'm going to just add one more step to it, because now we've got 5 steps so far, so I'm going to add one more by just copying it one more time. It's the same process, and then I'm going to offset the surface, offset SRF. I'm going to use a distance of 2 units, and I'm just going to bring that out. Now it's got a bit of a curved and a bit of a thickness to it. I'm also going to delete the bottom of this by exploding it, and then just get rid of that so it's a flat bottom. And so there we go. Now we've got this process of getting from a cube, we're twisting it, and we're morphing it into this kind of shape by creating voids and twisting it again and extruding it, and then we've come up with this final tower looking concept for a design. So once you're happy with your design process and how your forms evolved into this tower or whatever you're creating, so we're just going to go to the viewport settings at the top here, click on the down arrow and go to set view. In Rhino 6, this will have an isometric option. In Rhino 5, that's what we're using. We're going to actually have to type in isometric. So if we type in isometric into the command prompt, we want a southeast isometric look. So that gives us southeast, and isometric view that we can now put into Illustrator, and we can start adding some shadows and stuff to this, and then morphing it using Adobe Illustrator. So if you're ready to put these into Adobe Illustrator, all you have to do is highlight all of them and type make 2D into the command prompt. These settings are all okay. I think this show hidden lines option is usually defaultly on, but you can just untick that and click OK, and this is going to put a view into our top viewport. Sometimes when you use the make 2D command, your forms will be missing lines. Right now they look pretty well okay. There's not really anything missing. What you can do is go to the tools menu bar at the top here, and then you can just go options. And if you click on units, you can change this absolute tolerance. I think defaultly it's 0.1, and you can just add a couple of zeros to that and that'll make it a lot better. And so once you're happy with your 2D form, what you can do is highlight all of that, and we can type export. That way we can now export it into an Adobe Illustrator file. So ai.ai. You can put this wherever you like. I'm just going to save it in here and type Rhino 2D forms. Save that. We want a snapshot of the current view. It doesn't matter what the scale is because we're putting it into Adobe Illustrator, which is a vector-based program, so we can resize it as we wish. Besides, these forms aren't to scale anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. And we're just going to go ahead and press OK. And that exports our 2D files into an Adobe Illustrator. So once we've done that, we can go ahead and find our files. So mine are just here in Rhino 2D forms. I'm just going to go ahead and double click on that. And so there we have it. These are our 2D forms that we've just exported into Adobe Illustrator, and we can start to manipulate these to look a little bit better. These might look a little bit thick. All you have to do to change that is just to have a look at the stroke size at the top here, which is 1 point, and that is a little bit thick for us. So I'm just going to change that to about, let's say 0.25. And that looks a little bit better there now. Oh, so once you're happy with your line work, we can go back into Rhino and we can start adding some shadows. So I'm just going to go back into my top view here. I'm going to hide this line work here. And we want to move back into the parallel viewport. As you can see, this is the one with the shadows on it. So first things first, we're going to change the background color. We're going to hit the drop down here at the viewport settings, and we're going to go display options. From here, we can change the background viewport settings to be a solid color. We're going to just make that white. And the rest of those settings are all good. And we're just going to do a bit of a test render here. So we're going to go render tools and we're going to hit render and see what this looks like. Cool, so this is how the shadows are going to look once we put it underneath the line work in Adobe Illustrator. This could be a bit higher quality, so what we can do is just get out of that and we can right click on that render button and that takes us to the render settings. We're going to change the DPI to 300. Actually, we'll go to 600 because that gives us a high definition render. We're going to change anti-aliasing from normal to high. And we're also going to change the background color to be white as well. Cool, and that's all we need to do there. And so now we're just going to hit render and let that render. As you can see, this is a little bit higher quality when I zoom in as well. It looks a lot better. So all we have to do then is just save this image. I'm going to save it in the same spot as last time. And you can just find a spot to save it and chuck it in there. We'll just save it as a JPEG. We'll head back to Illustrator and we're going to add that image to our Illustrator file. Cool, so now that we've got that on there, we can bring up the layer panel. So I've just changed the layout of my workflow from automation to essentials. So I've got the layers panel here, and we're going to make sure that we add a new layer before we add that other one. So I'm just going to drag that one back in after I create a new layer. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. And then I'm just going to put this new shadow file underneath the line work we've got so that it shows underneath it. So what we want to do next is try and line up this shadow work with the line work. And so we can do that by just dragging it out, making it bigger, and then trying to line it up inside of the other pieces of the line work. So I'm just going to fast forward through here and try and get these to line up. Cool, so I think that looks pretty good. I hope you can agree with me, but they look pretty neat. Obviously they could be a little bit bigger, but I'm not going to be a perfectionist here. I think those shadows look pretty good inside the line work there. Cool, so now that we've done that, we've lined those ones up, we can start to line these forms up into a row and make them look like an operational diagram. So to do that, we're going to first copy this background shadows image. We're going to just control copy, and then we're going to actually paste it in place by pressing Shift Control V. And we're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we've got 6 of these background images, and what we can do is press the rectangle tool and just create a clipping mask using the rectangle tool around the shadow work. So we're just going to create a rectangle with that rectangle tool. We're going to also use the selection tool and hold Shift to select the background shadows. From there we can go to the object menu bar, go down to clipping mask and press make, or we can press Ctrl 7 to do that same process. What that allows us to do is to move just that shadow work rather than moving the entire thing. Also, I'm just going to run through that one again. We're going to have to do this for every single one of these forms. We're going to have to create a rectangle around the shadow and the form. And then we're going to go select that one and the background image. By holding Shift and pressing the background, we're going to go to Object, we're going to go Clipping Mask, Make. And we're going to do that for every single one of these forms. So I'll get back to you after I finish that. I've now created a clipping mask for each one of those forms. So what I can do is highlight them and then just drag them into place. And I'm going to line them all up next to each other. And as you can see, I didn't create a white background for the render when I rendered it in Rhino. That's like a light gray instead of a white. You might have seen me make that mistake, but I'm not going to be too fussed about it for this video. So we're just going to line them up into place so that they all are all in order. As you can see, that's starting to look pretty cool. We've got these forms that make up this operational diagram. So now you might be thinking, what can you do from here? We've got these forms that are lined up in this kind of diagram bit, but there's not really much context to it. And so from this point, what you can do is start to annotate it and write on it. And, you know, we can say this part here has been squished or rotated, and this bit here has been twisted and brought up and scaled up. And so to annotate it, what we can do is put some writing underneath here and say this form here has been rotated, and this form here has been scaled up in a 1D direction. This form here has had a void taken out of it. But so what I'm saying is we can start to annotate over it. And you can do this in Illustrator really easily. I don't really like Illustrator, so I'm going to move to Photoshop. So I'm just going to copy these forms. I've got a blank A4 document here, and I'm just going to paste them in. I'm also going to scale them up a little bit. And from here I can easily remove these backgrounds as well. I'm just going to raster that. I'm just going to select all of the backgrounds there, rasterize that. I'm going to delete them. So now that that background's gone, you won't have to do that if you created your background color in Rhino to be white. As I was saying earlier, you can add this annotation over the top of it. Now I'm in Photoshop, it's going to be a bit easier for me. If you prefer to use Illustrator, by all means do that. So I'm just going to add here, I'm going to use a type tool and just type skew. And I'm just going to rotate that to be the same angle as the isometric lines there. So I'm just going to put skew there. I'm going to just copy that one over. And here we're going to write scaled. I'm going to copy that one over again, and I'm going to write void. Oops. I'm going to do that 2 more times. I think you get the point. Twist. And let's go offset. And so you obviously want these to line up as well, make it look really neat. You can do this however you'd like, but I'm just showing you an example. Okay, so now that we've got those annotations in, we can start to add arrows, or we can start to add colors, or we could really, the choices from here are endless. You can do whatever you want to finish this diagram. For me, I'm going to add some arrows, I think, and maybe add a little bit of color, and I'll show you what the end result is. But yeah, really please experiment with this and kind of try out some different things and see what works for you. And what works with your concept and form development. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it or you found it helpful in whatever ways, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really does help me. If you haven't already picked up the Successful Archi Students checklist, it's a checklist that you can go through every night to help you succeed. It is on our website at successfularchistudent.com. You'll find it on the front page there. The link is also in the description. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.